Hi, everyone. This is Heather with the Old Schoolhouse, and we are here with a special Homeschool Live Roundtable. I am so excited to introduce several leaders of state conventions here, state organizations. These are the leaders that hold your hands. These are the ones that are here for you day in and day out, and I am so excited for them to talk to you about their conventions that they have coming up over the next few weeks and months. And there is just something about in-person conventions. I know we have online conventions and they have been incredible. You know, so many of these groups here, they have just gone with the flow with just the changes of the seasons over the past few years. But in-person convention, it's changed my life, it's changed the lives of so many others. So I just want to thank you, each one of you. We have Tauna Meyer. She is from OCEANetwork.org, and she is going to be sharing about her convention in Oregon. And we have Ann Miller with HEAV, and she is from Virginia. And I just want to say we have representation from all across the country, and there's other conventions as well if you are not from these states. And we have Kim, she's from Homeschool, Iowa, and we have Rob, and he is from Michigan. Thank you so much for joining me. And I also have Paul and Gena. They are the publishers of the Old Schoolhouse, and this is going to be just a powerful conversation. And thank you again for joining me today. So, Paul and Gena, I would love if we could start. I know you just came back from a convention in Massachusetts. Would love if you could just start out by telling us what you find of value of attending an in-person convention.
Okay. You want to go first?
Go ahead. Yeah. Well, for me anyway, something that's near and dear to my heart is reaching out to pastors, right? And there's a lot we could say or share with pastors and churches. And I think, of course, there's no substitution for a physical convention. I know that during COVID, that kind of morphed a little bit into more online events, right? And I think we couldn't help that. There was a wrench thrown in the gears, not just with homeschooling, everywhere, right? But now that we're kind of past that, I'm excited about a whole new fresh start with homeschool conventions throughout the country. And it's kind of neat that we have quite a spectrum represented here from the West Coast all the way over to the East Coast and some places in between. That's kind of neat. But we're really looking forward to this season. And again, like I said at the very beginning, my biggest anticipation here is to see hopefully pastors invited, a special kind of welcome and right hand of fellowship extended to pastors to these events, because I really think that the key to homeschooling, the future of homeschooling, really is going to rely a lot on our ability to reach out to pastors. I think, not that they've been neglected, not at all, but and not to say anything negative here, because that's not the heart, of course, but I think for the most part, it could be said that pastors are still in that position where they're still trying to figure out what homeschooling is and really what the relevance is to their fellowships, to their churches, to the flocks that they're shepherding. And I think we have a lot to offer in terms of communicating to pastors and churches of how homeschooling can come in and help their flocks grow, not just, of course, spiritually, but also in numbers and in retention. And we live in troubled times. The culture is just chaotic right now, and we have, unfortunately, we even have bad news about many people leaving the churches. And I think homeschooling can play a big role in just bringing good news to pastors and how we can come alongside and work with them.
We did just get back from Mass Hope, and it was a great time. It's always a wonderful time. We got to go last year as well, so that meant we were seeing some of the same vendors and even some of the same speakers, and of course the organizers. We love them, and that was a lot of fun. It's that relationship building our children, because they've always been children of vendors. The Old Schoolhouse has been at so many conferences. Our kids have such great memories of hooking up with their friends that they saw last year, and that's exactly what we did. Had dinner on the last night with one of the vendors, and they have 10 children and we have a ton. So we have our senior editor, Deborah Wheeler, who was with us. So she had her kids there, and it was just a wonderful time. So I think with these conventions, it's all about fellowship. It's amongst the vendors, but also the people. People come year after year and they see their friends. They've come in flocks and in droves. And I think it's a special time. And what's interesting is when I first started homeschooling, I was afraid to go to a homeschool conference. And I'm hoping that today we can talk a little bit about that just from some of these leaders. I know you've heard that before. People feel very intimidated. For the first few years of my homeschooling adventure, I did not go. And why is that? And I can share later why, but I think some of you probably know, and perhaps you could speak to that, because everybody should be encouraged to go. They're missing out if they don't.
Yeah.
I would love to talk about what Paul was talking about with the pastors. Do any of you here have something specifically for pastors at your convention? Pastors that might not be on board with homeschooling, new to homeschooling. Do you have anything that you offer them at a convention? Go ahead, Dan. I would love to hear.
We invite non-homeschooling pastors as well as pastors who have never attended our convention before. We invite them to come for free because we kind of want them to come and taste and see. There are a lot of preconceptions about what homeschooling is, but if they actually come and see what's available and the resources and the families, it's very powerful and has transformed many of a pastor into having a better understanding about home-based discipleship and how he can incorporate the support of homeschool families in his church to build up his church body as well. So, and we have a special pastor workshop that we do that this year we have Steve Demme will be doing that workshop.
Thanks. He's great. Super.
Come on, pastors.
Tauna, do you have anything that you could say maybe to the hesitant homeschool mom? Like Gena was saying, at first she didn't want to go. What would you say to somebody, hesitant about checking out your convention?
Well, my experience with our homeschool conference is the reason why, I work with them now and why I'm so passionate about reaching out to homeschoolers. Because when my husband and we first went to our state homeschool conference when my oldest was 2, and we were so nervous, and it was a bit of a culture shock for us to walk into that huge hall and see all these people. But it was such a blessing for us being around all these parents who have this, there's such a diversity in the homeschool community. And that was beautiful to see, but that we all had this common goal and purpose to raise our children to know and love the Lord. And it was just really powerful to be in the same room with all of these people with the same focus in mind. And so we were just kind of dipping our toes into homeschooling and really nervous about the whole thing. But we were so encouraged by that. And then the speakers and vendors were so inspiring, encouraging, and, spent time to talk with us and helped us really to catch the vision for family discipleship and the blessing of home education. And it really changed our family's life. It helped us to prioritize what was most important. And we kind of need, as a homeschool mom and my husband as well, having him there with me made a huge difference. When dads hear the vision for home discipleship and home education, it can kind of catch fire in your home and really, bring everything to life and make that the priority in your home. And so it was really wonderful for us. So I definitely recommend doing it. We go every year, even before we got involved as leaders with OCEANetwork, because it was important for us to continue focusing our eyes on Christ and that vision of home discipleship and home education. So I think even if you just came for a day, even if you just came to kind of check things out and just accept the fact that it's going to be a little bit of a fire hose of information, but just come and start soaking it in, because you have every year to come. So I definitely recommend it.
And, it's powerful that every state, not every state, but most states have it specific to their state, because there's certain laws and certain aspects, that it's so valuable to be there in person and to hear what's going on in your state for homeschooling. And Kim, I would love if you could just talk about, what it's like going to a conference, a Homeschool Iowa's conference.
Sure. Well, as far as we have a Homeschool 101 type of workshop on Thursday night that we offer. It's free, actually, and open to the public. And we have that. So just in case people aren't quite ready to commit to coming to the whole conference, they can do just that little Homeschool 101 on Thursday night. And then a lot of times people who come to that are like, wow, this is really amazing. And then they go ahead and sign up for the next 2 days of the conference. So we also have on Friday morning, we have like a little track for beginning homeschoolers. And we always have Scott Woodruff from HSLDA come and talk about like Iowa law and what does that look like. And he's always really great with that. And we have regional reps in our state, regional representatives, and they are really great at just talking to new homeschool families and answering all their questions, kind of helping them get over like some of the things, just answering those questions and helping them deal with some of the anxieties they might have about getting started and what does that look like. So I will kind of piggyback on, what someone else said too about, I think what Gena said about at first not wanting to go to a homeschool convention. I was like that when my kids were younger and we lived in Minnesota. And my friend said, oh, it's kind of overwhelming. I don't know if you would like it. And I went a few years later and I thought, what was I can't believe I was missing this. I was just so encouraged and to be with like-minded people, like Tauna said, and just able to just receive encouragement there and learn so much. And after that, I never missed one because I was amazed. And yes, it does feel like a fire hose. I would tell people that, but you just soak up, what you can and pray that God would show you the things that he wants you to take in. And also when my husband joined me, that was really great for our family. And he caught the vision for homeschooling and discipling our kids. And I'm just so thankful for that. And that's partly why I'm involved in Homeschool Iowa today.
And I think it's funny that, several of you have said it was hard for you to go in the beginning because usually the hesitation is from the fathers. And Rob, I would love if you could touch on what you have to offer fathers that, or the husbands coming to a homeschool convention.
Thank you, Heather. I was looking at this panel and I was thinking of that exact question, and it's a fun one for me to address. I would echo a lot of the themes that you've already heard, but one of the things when we were homeschooling ourselves, and now in the role that I have with MÂCHÉ here in Minnesota, a banquet table is set of so much. I know there's the potential of a fire hose with so many things coming at you, but it is a banquet table of so many amazing things. And the timing of our conventions is perfect really for the end of the school year when mom, perhaps if like our home is the principal teacher, it's a long year, it could be an exhausting year, and there's a need to recharge and to be re-inspired. And these conventions are fit for that purpose. They always did that for us. I always went with my wife. First of all, I had to carry all the stuff that was acquired over the course. Somebody had to do that, and I delighted in doing that. The other thing is when we always made a point of, with the dozens of vendors that are there, we would get the curriculum things that we needed for the new year. We did some of that, but we also always brought home fun stuff. There was always some really cool things for the whole family that we could bring home. Our kids looked forward to us coming home. And some people come with the whole family. And frankly, a lot of these conventions, ours included, is really set for the whole family. There's something for the young. There's something for the teens. We're starting to see more grandparents coming in support of their kids. And and I'm seeing more dads. This last year, we were at a church. This year, we're going to be back at a convention center. We're very excited about that. But a lot of dads that do come, and I think, Heather, you made this point and others have as well. It's really important for dads. So any dads listening or moms listening, encourage the dads. It makes a huge difference in the home. You will not be disappointed at these conventions. You will be recharged and re-inspired.
Amen. I love what you said about the banquet table too, because that is so true. That is such a good way to look at it. We started homeschooling 30 years ago. And I truly was intimidated to go. And I had friends from our church that would tell me every year, come on, let's go. No. And the reason I felt so intimidated, because I felt I was kind of a younger homeschool mom, didn't think I was very smart enough to do it. And I kind of felt like everybody would be smarter around me and that I would kind of look exposed or dumb. And as soon as I started actually going and speaking with the vendors and listening to the speakers, that banquet table emerged. It was all of a sudden, it wasn't just a fire hose, and it can be that for those who want it to be. You can certainly go and get your fill. But for somebody who just needs to come in for the first time and poke their toe in there and they're getting used to all of it, I have never met anybody who leaves a situation like that regretting that they went. It's the opposite. And it was the case for me. I realized, you know what, these are my people. I'm not, and nobody made me feel inadequate, or my education wasn't to standard as many others. And I felt that way, but I was made to feel very much welcome. And I am so thrilled. And every time we get to go to any of these conferences, it all comes back again. And I leave with something. I leave with many things every single time.
Yeah, and something also Rob said that kind of reminded me, and that is, you said there's something there for everyone and it's fun. There's always something fun there. I remember going to HEAV a number of times. I've been there actually, and they typically would have back in the corner, they'd have their robotics. And man, I cannot tell you, I'm not a techie, but boy, for that moment, I would spend maybe an hour or two there just I'm supposed to be walking the floor, right? Getting to know everyone. And I get just stuck back in that corner with my kids who I had a couple of kids who were very techie and into all that. And I got into it myself, but it was just amazing to see the kids come alive, and they're talking like techie experts. I mean, they know the lingo and they know and I'd ask one question and I'd have these kids, 12, 13, 14-year-old kids just tell me all about how they design something or how it works.
Because they were having fun.
Yeah. And it really is engaging. It's unlike anything. And I don't want to compare anything, make some other sector look bad or anything like that. But it's so unlike the public school where it's just textbooks, right? This is so different. It's so hands-on. The other thing, too, it's so encouraging because then you see someone said my people or our people, right? It very much is that way. You could, there are no strangers there. All of a sudden families who have never met all engage with one another, right? Because they have a common interest to bring up their kids and to educate their kids and to disciple their kids, the big word there, right? Discipleship in the Lord. And we're all there for that purpose. So it's just, there's something there for everyone, always.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how you pointed out, Paul, that's what you saw was in the vendor hall at HEAV. And, there's so many activities, but just by going into the vendor hall, there's so many activities there. Just by walking around, it can take hours, and there's just so much available. But in addition to the vendor hall, I was wondering if, Tauna, do you have any other activities for the kids or teenagers that you might want to touch on? I don't know if it's included in your ticket or it's an extra add-on fee. Could you maybe talk about what you have?
Yeah, well, every year is a little bit different. I mean, we had one year when we had a program come out and do a full teen program, and that was an extra paid. But last year and this year, we've had Glenn's Gizmos come out, and that's included in the admission price. And our kids love it. And honestly, my husband and I love it too, because he comes out and he brings all of these activities. There's science dissections. Last year he had a big tub out there where people could, drive these little motorboats around in it. There's all these games and puzzles and interactive science activities. So this year, again, we have a hall set aside just for that. And so our families really love that. And then for teens, a lot of our teens end up in that hall too, playing with those activities along with the rest of our parents. But for teens, we always have a teen track, and we pay special attention to make sure that we have really encouraging speakers to speak specifically to dads. So every year there's something for the kids and for the teens and for the dads, because that's really important for us, that this is a whole family event where we can all get the vision for homeschooling and family discipleship. So it's really fun. It's a lot of fun. And then in the evening, I forgot to mention, our kids don't participate in this because they're not quite old enough yet, the little ones. But our teens do country dancing. We have somebody coming in the evening and they call out country dancing things, and that's so much fun to watch.
Yeah,
how fun.
That is so neat. Anne, could you share maybe what you have available at the HEAV conference?
Sure. specifically for teens or
For kids and teens?
just overall? Okay. Yeah, we love families, obviously, and we have a lot to offer of all ages. We have a children's program that is Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, but we also have Kids Business Academy, which is teaching children how to launch and grow their own businesses. We do dissection labs. We have soldering classes, art classes, writing classes. This year, we're excited that S.D. Smith, the author of the Green Ember series, is actually giving writing classes to elementary and middle school kids. We do chess camps, chess tournaments. We have a 3D printer. We have a class where the kids will build a 3D printer. A STEM class that's dissecting sea perch, a photography program, a music competition, college and career fair. And this year we're doing something that we haven't done before, which is design and discovery, which is a career assessment that teens can come, and it can help them understand how the Lord created them. They're not only their interests, but also their hard wiring, their aptitudes and personality. So we're excited about that. And we do have a teen program with Worldview Academy, a teen track that comes through the convention as well. So, and of course, we have that robotics expo that Paul mentioned, and that is a hit. It's all hands-on. The kids can come, and we have Legos, we have First, and we have Vex. So we have all the different robotic organizations that help kids learn, not just about building robots, but I know our daughter learned graphic design, and they're learning leadership skills. It's very exciting.
That is so great. That is awesome.
There's a lot.
Yeah, we have a lot. It's like
for everybody.
Kim, what do you have available for kids and teens?
Yeah, we love to see families just come to our convention, of course. And we have a lot of families who just bring their kids. We have a kids program called Kids Trek, and actually it's held just at a church off-site, but it's kind of like a really fun kind of VBS, and they usually have a really great drama with a whole theme every year, and that is an extra cost, but a lot of people choose to have their kids go to that. We have a teen track for our teens, a few workshops each day for teens, and a lot of our teens love to do those workshops as well as volunteer part-time. There's a group of them. They're all friends. And a lot of times they just see each other at the conference. That's the only time they see each other, maybe a few other times throughout the year, but they all love to volunteer together. And so we kind of try to give them opportunities to volunteer part-time, and then they can also attend these workshops for teens. This year we have one on personal finance, we have one on self-defense, and a couple other ones. So I think that's going to be really fun. And then this year we're also doing, for a family event on Friday night, we're having Josh Denhart and the Amazing Chemistry Show on Friday night, and that's included in everyone's conference admission. And so I think that's going to be a really fun event for all families. If even if their kids did the Kids Trek program in the day, they can all come to that for an hour on Friday night. And so, yeah, we're excited about that this year.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Rob, what would you like to share what you have available for kids and teens?
Absolutely. First of all, I do not want to get into a competition with Anne. Just I'll call out three things. We also have a teen track, and our teen track features this year Patrick Nuri from Northwest Treasures, a geologist. It's going to be very much of a hands-on. We've got a couple hundred teens already signed up for that. Creation, evolution. It'll be he makes that very creative and interesting. So I think our teens will enjoy that. That will be one side of a ballroom, and on the other half of the ballroom with a divider in between, I think that will be necessary. We'll have a kid activity zone put on by Trail Life USA. So I think they've done this before at the Ark Encounter, and I've heard great things about that. And so the only thing that we said is, because this is indoors, there can't be fires or other
Yeah.
things like that. Otherwise, I think it's going to be pretty exciting for our kids in the activity zone. I hope we don't have a competition between two sides of that ballroom. The third thing I'll call out, a little bit like Kim, is Friday night. Friday night, we've got a American Campfire Revival featuring Kirk Cameron, partnered with Mark Hancock, again, Trail Life USA. And I think Trail Life has a close relationship with the Wild Brothers, so they're going to be part of that event as well. I think we'll have an honor guard, presentation of colors, some worship time. So like everybody's that I've been listening to, there's something for everyone, kids of all ages and the family as a family. So that's a featured event for us this year.
Oh, so good.
Well, very, very cool. We're going to be there, so we're looking forward to that.
I know.
Our kids are signed up for the kids program, so I'm thrilled.
Do you guys want a front row seat? Just let me know.
Sure.
We'll say Rob said.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, our kids are really going to have a great time. I wish that we could go. Deborah Wooler just popped in here and said, I wish that I could go to all of these conferences. I don't think people realize, I know that it's on the websites and I know that we promote on social media and things like that, but just listening to this, I want everybody to hear it because I don't think people realize just what their convention, what their state convention actually offers. It is incredible. They're amazing. And I wish that we could go to all of them. And the ones we do, we sign our kids up for those teen programs, the kids activities. And they have such amazing memories of all of it. They love it. They enjoy it so much. So we're looking forward to MÂCHÉ for sure.
And it's really cool because, and I don't know who, someone on this panel mentioned grandparents, right? We have seen more and more parents who, our age basically, who have already raised and homeschooled their kids who are now grandparents and their kids are now, we have a whole new generation of homeschoolers, right? And aside from that, though, and of course, they pass on that knowledge, so it's not completely foreign even to those little kids that are now coming into homeschooling, the homeschool experience and the conventions, which are so much fun. But there's a whole new, I don't know what to call them, just a whole new group of people coming into homeschooling, who are in their 20s and 30s, who are just discovering homeschooling for the first time. Again, because of all the craziness going on, they've just decided, there's got to be a better way. And I've met a lot of these families, and they're completely new to homeschooling. And it's just encouraging to hear just the variety of opportunities and experiences and activities that are offered up at these conventions. You don't get this over the internet, right? You
have to go. You have
to be there. There's no substitute, I guess what I'm saying, for a homeschool convention, really.
Yeah.
So I want to mention a comment because I noticed this is from Natalie Mack, and I believe she is going to be a speaker at HEAV, speaking to the military. She says, working diligently and spreading the word about state organizations into the military homeschool communities. I just appreciate everything that Natalie does. And I think that's a really good segue into the speakers that are going to be, there's all these events. There's the vendor hall. There's so many aspects of the conventions, but you have incredible speakers. So let's start with Tauna. Who are going to be your keynotes this year?
Our keynotes are going to be Todd Wilson, who's always
love him.
Super fun and encouraging, not only for the moms, but for the dads. Last time we had him was several years ago, and I remember my husband just laughing out loud the whole time. But he's also incredibly encouraging for homeschool moms. So we're really excited about him coming out again this year. And we also have Rick and Marilyn Boyer coming out, and they're one of my personal favorites, if anybody's asking, because they were at the conference, the very first conference I went to, and they're one of the main reasons why we continued to homeschool and get involved with our state organization. And so we're really excited because they're from Character Concepts, and they're going to share great encouragement for moms and dads. And then we also have some featured speakers like Sonia Schaefer from Simply Charlotte Mason, and several other fantastic speakers. So we're really excited about our lineup this year.
That is awesome. I love all those speakers for sure. And who are going to be your keynotes this year?
Well, we have Kirk Cameron is also coming and doing the Fireside Revival with Oh, my mind just went blank. Oh, terrible, terrible, terrible.
It happens to all of
The
us.
boys. Tell me the boys, Rob.
Are you thinking Mark Hancock, Trail Life?
Yes, Mark Hancock and
Yep.
Trail Life.
Yep.
We're doing the campfire revival, and Kirk will also be reading a book to the kids. You know, he's been traveling the nation, reading in libraries in different places, and so he's going to do a story hour. And also another keynote is going to be with SD Smith, the Green Ember series, and he's doing a whole program. One of the keynotes is just for families with a special program, an untold, unpublished story for those who attend. And also we have Danny Craig from Homeschool Summit.
Yes.
And he will be one of our keynote speakers as well. We're celebrating our 40th anniversary this year. So we have a big blowout with lots and lots and lots of giveaways. We're looking at this as our opportunity to give back to all the families that have supported HEAV, and especially through COVID. Like, we're all here, right? Yay. And we do have Will and Mickey Addison from Airing the Addisons on American Family Radio. They're going to be at the convention and doing live broadcasts every day. Nice. Amber O'Neill Johnson, the Heritage Mom, we're excited about her coming, and Rebecca Spooner, and so many others, Dorinda Wilson. We could go on and on. We're very excited this year about our speakers. We're excited every year about our speakers. There's so many wonderful ones.
Kim, who are you going to be having speaking this year?
Yeah, we are having Todd Wilson as well. And we're very excited about him coming. My husband, he's one of my husband's favorite speakers as well. We're having Kathy Cook, and really excited about her. And then Sonia Schaefer. So those are our keynote speakers. And I always appreciate all of our speakers so much. I always have enjoyed the vendor hall, but I have found for me personally, just the encouragement and the wisdom that they have shared with me over the years has been, really crucial. And I just pray that is the same for the families coming this year. And I know that these speakers are all going to do a great job. And so we're looking forward to having them in Iowa.
Amen.
That's great.
And Rob, you mentioned Kirk Cameron. Was there anybody else that you wanted to talk about?
Well, just to finish, you're right, Heather. Just to finish up with Kirk Cameron, he is one of our keynotes together with Mark Hancock, and we're also doing a story hour. And with all of us addressing different state audiences, it's quite okay if we copy one another once in a while. So they'll be awesome speakers. Our other keynote is Dr. Mark Hamby from Lamplighter. Yeah. I have a clear memory from my earlier homeschool days when I, as a dad, was there with my wife. He inspired us so much. I think we bought every Lamplighter book that was in print at the time. And it was a dad's read aloud favorite. So I did a lot of read alouds with that. And you can see behind me some evidence of being a homeschool dad. Last year, when I lost my wife at the conference, I thought, I know where she is. She was in the Lamplighter booth. And sure enough, she found that there were some books we didn't yet own.
They are great.
Yeah.
I love Lamplighter.
They are. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's exciting. So I would love, before we sign off, if each one of you could just share with us when your convention is, how they can sign up, anybody who might be watching, and maybe one last little tidbit of information or encouragement you want to share. So Tauna, could you go first?
Sure. So OCEANetwork, we're hosting our 27th annual Oregon Home Education Conference. It's June 16th through 17th in Albany, Oregon. It's very family friendly. I think I kind of touched on most of the things that we have going on, but I did want to mention we also have the largest used curriculum exchange in the state. So if you want to go to a giant used curriculum sale, that's really fun to go to as well. And so, yeah, we're really excited. We're thankful for all of the homeschool families in Oregon, and just like all of these other folks here and all the state organizations across the state, or across the country, we're here for you year round. It's not just at the conference. So, if you ever need to get connected, if you have questions about legal issues, if you have questions about, the state requirements, if you just need some encouragement and connection, we're always here for you year round.
Love that.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Tauna. And can you share about when your convention is?
Yes, our convention is June 8th, 9th, and 10th, and at the Greater Richmond Convention Center, downtown Richmond. And we, what was the rest of the question? My mind just went blank.
How can anybody who wants to sign up, how can they sign up?
Oh, just go to our website, HEAV.org, and you can register there. And if you, early registration, I think, goes till May 17th. But after that, you can register at the door. On Thursday, we have free How to Begins in English and Spanish, and also free shopping when the How to Begins are over. So if you just want to get a taste of homeschooling, but you're not sure you want to commit to a whole conference, somebody mentioned earlier about just coming, like get your toes in, but then come and then end up signing up for the whole thing. So it's an opportunity on Thursday to come for free to the How to Begins and to have free shopping afterwards. We also have a Hispanic outreach, and we will be doing a meet and greet as well as the How to Begins in Spanish, and we'll have Spanish workshops throughout. We do have a giant used curriculum sale. It is enormous, and an enormous exhibit hall as well. So many exhibitors. We're every year at convention, the saddest thing I hear is the days after convention when we get the calls like, "What? I didn't know there was a convention."
Oh.
So isn't that awful? Don't you get those calls like, "What? I didn't know." So if I could just encourage all those convention fans to make sure that you tell your friends about the conventions that are in your area, because it's so sad when we get those calls afterwards that they didn't know. And the other thing is, if for Virginia, and I can't speak for the other states, we don't want a sincere financial need to keep you from attending. So we also offer scholarships for those who have a genuine financial need, and that's on our website. You can find that there too. And we also invite parents of preschoolers whose oldest is 4 and under to come for free to the whole convention. Because you're making those you're making decisions about your child's education and what your educational philosophy is.
Yes.
So we just love parents of preschoolers to come and just soak it all in. There's so much there, and you still have time. You don't have to rush, to make those decisions, but it's a great time. And Natalie reminded me, we also have a military reception where Natalie will be speaking, and Sherry Payne, our military outreach director. So there's a lot going on. Visit the websites. All of us have a lot at our conventions, and there's something for everyone. And I just encourage everybody to come and tell your friends.
Right. Absolutely. And I think you have a new thing this year where if you tell a friend, you get a little perk, right?
Yes. When you register, if you let your friends know, your convention could actually be free. If enough people use your code, we'll give you a special code. They'll save $5 on their registration, and you will also have $5 taken off your registration and up until the cost of your registration. So yeah, it's a great perk to share with friends and family.
That's a super idea.
Sure, as much as you want, wherever you want. Get your registration free.
Kim, can you share with us a little bit about when your convention is?
Sure. Yep. Our convention is June 9 and 10, and it is in West Des Moines at the Mid-American Energy Recplex. And we're excited. This is our second year at this venue. And so it worked really well for us last year. And we've had to make a lot of venue changes over the past several years. So having it in the same place for 2 years in a row feels like it's so much easier than reinventing the wheel. So we're excited to welcome people back there. And yes, I think it's a great idea to invite your friends, tell them about it. My husband and I just met a young homeschool family the other night, and we were telling them about the conference, and they'd never heard about it. And so, of course, I told them everything I could, and I think they're going to sign up. And so, we're just really excited. We want to welcome our theme this year for our conference is Welcome Home. And we want to welcome people who have been homeschooling for a long time. We want to welcome people who are just beginning homeschooling. And for whatever reason, some people are, after COVID, they're coming away from, they're maybe, going away from the school, or there are other people who just want that homeschooling lifestyle for their family. And so anyway, we just want to say welcome home to everybody, and encourage parents too, as they even welcome their own children home to do school at home. So that's our theme for this year, and everyone is welcome, and we're excited and hope that people can join us at the Homeschool Iowa Conference.
Yes, love that.
Thank you, Kim. And Rob, when is your conference?
It's coming up really soon now, 2 weeks from Friday. So May 19th and 20th, our registration window on MÂCHÉ.org is open for just another couple of weeks for the event, the convention itself, and all the events that we've been talking about. We are at the Rochester, Minnesota Mayo Civic Center. And since I was there with our kids in the early days of the Civic Center, they've done a massive addition, beautiful, beautiful space, and we have all of that. So it's just a gorgeous space. I would love to say, except I think my convention director might be listening, money back guarantee. You will not. I think I phrased that. I would love to say, because she will call me right after I get off.
It's not a bad idea.
And as I mentioned, there are other conventions going on in other states. I know Paul and Gena, you'll be visiting Pennsylvania. Senior editor from TOS, Deborah Wooler, will be speaking at the CHAP conference coming up. And so if you go visit schoolhouseconnect.com, you'll be able to look and find if there's a convention in your area and be able to check that out, and definitely head over there. Paul and Gena, do you have any final words about conventions? Another push to encourage everyone to go, because it is such an encouraging time. I know it was so hard for me to get my husband to go, but once I got him going, he loved it. And he said, this is our family tradition. How can we not go? And it's definitely a wonderful experience.
Absolutely. And we are such staunch believers in it that even our spring issue, the issue that just came off the press, from the front cover, we are telling our readers, go to your state convention. I do want to throw out the URL, homeschoolfreedom.com. That's another excellent place where you can be looking to find out where your state organization is, as well as when those conferences are. Those links are there. Homeschoolfreedom.com. Definitely go to your conference. The other thing too, I wanted to say to all of you on the panel, and I think some of you have already done this, but up until the date of your upcoming conference, we will commit to, on our social media, giving shout outs daily. We are more than happy to do that. We have a large social media following. And if you haven't done it yet, email Heather or email myself, even some bullet points, some of what we talked about today, the keynotes, and my goodness, and I don't know how you could, there's so much going on at your show. But I want to make a bullet point of every bit of it, because we'll promote it. And we will commit to that from this point out to every single day. We will give some shout outs because we feel very strongly that homeschoolers need to be at their state conference. They've got to go. You got to see it to believe it.
Yeah, no, amen to that. And, it's been mentioned a couple of times. It's like drinking from a fire hydrant. Well, it is. I don't know how you can get away from that, really. But going there and then experiencing it, being part of the whole experience there, you'll soon, I'm confident that families will soon find their place and their pace there. Yes. And, it's a multi-day event. So there's time to just slow down, right? Get to know many of the vendors and the publishers there, the providers of various curriculums, right? And of course, there's no substitution for actually going to some of these keynote events, right? Where you get to hear from the speakers themselves, or I should say the publishers themselves. And so, it is drinking from a fire hydrant, but better that than a trickle, right? So, we feel fortunate in a very unique way, because we get an opportunity to kind of pop in on many of these events each year. So we're kind of spoiled, I think.
We are. And our senior editor, Deborah Wooler, is speaking at several conferences this year. You have to hear her Homeschooling the Rebel talk. We were just, it's like standing room only sometimes with these events. And I just got to hear it again. Never gets old. You have to hear that. So if you're going to a conference where Deborah Wooler is speaking, make sure you get in there and at least hear that particular one, because it's not a dry eye in the house. It's really great. So.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. I am so excited that the convention season has already kicked off. So many have already happened and all yours are going to be happening. So I hope if you're watching, you've been inspired and that you will go to your state convention. And I am looking forward to attending one this year as well. And I just hope all of you were blessed and encouraged today. And we will see you next time on another Homeschool Live. Bye.